Hello everybody, so today I'm going to be showing you all of the books that I have hauled in the past couple of months. Now it is a fair amount. I don't think I've done a book haul since January, but I have bought way too many. Some I have bought specifically for videos, so I'll probably just quickly go through those ones, but others are just ones that I'm really excited about in general, or that I found secondhand or really cheap. I'm obviously really excited about all of the books in this haul because otherwise I wouldn't have bought them, and I've already read a bunch of them and I'm going to get to a bunch of them really soon. I'm just really happy with how my book collection is going and how much different kind of literature I'm getting into now and experimenting with compared to like me a couple of years ago. It's just like, it's really like fun and exciting finding new things I really love. So this is kind of another indication of that, which I'm really excited to show you. Like I said, there are a lot of books in this haul, so I don't know how long this video is going to be. So grab a hot drink, grab a snack and sit down for a ride because I am about to tell you all about the books that I got. So first off, I'm going to show you some of the books that I ended up getting for the Koreadathon, which is a Korean themed readathon that happened a couple of months ago. And the first one I got was Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee, and I started listening to this one on audiobook actually, but I wasn't really vibing with the narration, and I feel like this is definitely one that I want to sit down and physically read. So this book I believe is a multi-generational novel, and the synopsis is really kind of succinct, so I'll just read that. It's set in Korea in 1911. A club-footed, cleft-lipped man marries a 15-year-old girl. The couple have one child, their beloved daughter Sunja. When Sunja falls pregnant by a married yakuza, the family face ruin. But then a Christian minister offers a chance of salvation, a new life in Japan as his wife. Following a man she barely knows to a hostile country where she has no friends and no home, Sunja's salvation is just the beginning of her story. This is one that I definitely want to like sit down and take my time with reading, and I don't think I'm going to continue listening to the audiobook, but I'm still so intrigued with this. And from what I have listened to so far, I'm really enjoying it, and I've heard like so many positive things about this book. The next book I ended up picking up for the Koreadathon was Winter in Sokcho, and it has like this really cool like postcard like cover, and I love it. This is by Elisa Shua Desapin, and this one I wasn't a huge fan of. I mean, I did enjoy it, and I did enjoy a lot of aspects. It's basically set in Sokcho, which is a town on the border of North Korea and South Korea, and it follows a young French Korean woman who is a receptionist at an inn, and she ends up meeting and getting to know a young French cartoonist. Next I have The Vegetarian by Han Kang, and this one was actually recommended to me from a friend. I saw this book get a lot of hype a few years ago in 2016 because it won the Man Booker Prize, and I see why. It is really well written. It is very dark, and I don't know why, but I wasn't really expecting it to be so dark, because all I had been told by like everybody who has talked about this is that it follows and explores a woman who decides to be vegetarian in Korea, which isn't really a thing that happens. I won't go into too much detail because I'll go into detail in my wrap up, but I think what disturbed me the most about this is that it is told by three different people's points of view. It's told in the points of view of the woman's husband, her brother-in-law, and her sister. Because it's her story told by other people, it's really quite disturbing just to read about how, especially like her husband and her brother-in-law talk about this woman in this novel. It's so messed up. And I will give a trigger warning for rape in this as well, because I was not expecting that, and I think it's in like the first 20 pages as well. Like, it's really soon, and it kind of threw me off guard. I did end up really liking this book despite how disturbing it was. It wasn't like a 5-star read for me, but I liked it anyway. Next up I have Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, and I want to give Sally Rooney a second chance because I read and DNF'd Normal People. I'm going to give that one a second chance as well. I've heard from people who didn't like Normal People as much. They really vibed with Conversations with Friends. So maybe this is the Sally Rooney novel for me. There's a bunch of books in this haul that Book Talk would consider like hot girl or like sad girl reads, and I'll be honest, I'm really enjoying like that genre of fiction at the moment, and they just all sound really interesting to me. This next book comes up on a lot of those lists, and that is Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. I have heard really good things about this one. This has been recommended by so many people who recommend like unhinged women in their 20s kind of books, like that genre, and I've just heard really good things about this one. It's apparently quite fucked up, but I'm excited for it anyway. The main character is named Irina, and she obsessively takes explicit photographs of the average looking men she persuades to model for her, scouted from the streets of Newcastle. So she's placed on sabbatical from her dead-end job, and she's offered an exhibition at a London art gallery, promising to revive her career in the art world and offering her an escape from her rut of drugs and alcohol. And it just sounds really messed up and disturbing, but I'm here for it. I'm very excited to read this one, hopefully soon. Next up, I have Slow Days Fast Company, The World, the Flesh and LA by Eve Babbitt. And I had been trying to get my hands on this book for like so long. It was just constantly sold out everywhere for ages, and I finally found it and I finally picked it up. I heard like one person saying that this was like real life Evelyn Hugo, and I don't know how true that is or whether they're just drawing a comparison from LA and Hollywood from the 60s and 70s, because I feel like maybe that's what has happened here. It is about life in LA in the 60s and 70s, and is about movie stars and socialites and parties and everything, which I think is where the comparison with Evelyn Hugo comes in. Regardless, I've heard so many good things about this one and I'm so excited. The next book I have is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This is a memoir. This tells Chanel's story from being a survivor of the Stanford sexual assault case. I have heard really good things about this one though, and I'm quite excited to read it. I just gotta read it when I'm in the mindset for it. The next book is something I never thought I would pick up ever. This is the direct result of me being influenced and completely binging like all of Emmy's videos on BookTube. I have become obsessed with her videos in the past couple of months. If it wasn't for her videos, I probably wouldn't have picked this one up. But it's a secondhand copy of The Phantom of the Opera, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't even seen the movie of this. I am not really a classics kind of person, but I am so interested in reading classics now. Well, some classics I should say, like some I don't know about, but like some of them I have definitely gotten more of an interest in reading, and as soon as I saw this one I had to pick it up because she's obsessed with it. I'm like, maybe it'll be a fun time. So I found this for like $1.50 or something, and it's like a hardback, and I really love the cover of this one as well. I think it's really fun. So this one is just a result of me being influenced by booktubers, so there we go. Next up, I have Insatiable by Daisy Buchanan, and I was out shopping with one of my best friends and I saw this, and I feel like I had seen it maybe once or twice, but the cover really caught my eye, and it is about a woman named Violet who's stuck in a dead-end job, etc. Apparently it explores female desire and sexuality, and I'm just really intrigued by it. I've heard quite good things about this one as well since I bought this. It sounds a bit weird as well, which I'm really keen for, so we'll see how it goes. The next 6 books I'm going to quickly go through just because I have technically hauled them on my channel already in my bookstore vlog, which I will leave up here. And so the first one is Ghosted by Jen Ashworth. Then I have Must I Go by Yi Yun Lee, and I'm so obsessed with this cover. It's so pretty. I love the colors. I love the pink. I have my first Rachel Cusk book, which is Second Place, and I'm really hoping I enjoy this one because Rachel Cusk has so many freaking books, and I feel like if I like her writing and vibe with her books, I'm just gonna have a whole new world. And then I have another book that my friend and I are planning to buddy read together later on this year, and that is Milk Fed by Melissa Broder. I've heard this one is very fucked up, very weird, but I'm here for it. Then I have The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is another book that I have seen really hyped up like years ago and never ended up picking up. It is a sci-fi, and I don't normally vibe with sci-fi, but I'm going to give this one a chance just purely because I have heard so many good things about it. And then the last book that I got for that vlog was Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and this is like a time travel-y sort of multi-story type of book. The next book I have is one that I am really happy I found so cheap, because I was going to buy this one at like full price anyway eventually, but I found it for $1.50 at Kmart. That book is My Titter, My Sister by Marley Silver. This one tells stories from Australia's Indigenous women, and I'm just really excited for it. It's also like a hardback, and I'm just really stoked with it. And it's got like really beautiful like quotes and artwork throughout it, and it's just a really like stunning book like altogether. I'm obsessed with this, and I'm very excited for it. The next book I have is one that I am currently reading at the moment. I am 100 pages in, and that is Tripping Arcadia by Kit Mayquist. I'm really enjoying it so far. It is about a med school dropout named Lena, and again, she doesn't really know what she wants to do with her life, and she really needs to find a job to help support her family because something has happened to her family and they are really struggling with things like medical bills at the moment as well. And she ends up getting offered a job by the local billionaire. So it's described as a propulsive and atmospheric modern gothic filled to the brim with all the splendor of the Great Gatsby and all the secrets, lies, and darkness that opulence can hide. And that is, from what I've read so far, that is literally the perfect way to describe this book so far. I am really enjoying it. I am obsessed with the cover. I love the cover so much. I'm just so excited. I'm really excited to see where this one goes. Next up, I have The New Me by Hallie Butler. Don't get me wrong, I love the cover, but like the fly on the face of the cover, I think it's real every time I kind of glance at it, and it freaks me out every time. In a windowless office, a woman explains something from her real non-work life about the frustration and indignity of returning her online shopping to her colleagues. Watching them all is Millie. 30 years old and an eternal temp, she says almost nothing almost all of the time. But then the possibility of a permanent job arises. Will it bring the new life Millie is envisioning, one involving a gym membership, a book club, and a lot less beer and TV, finally within reach? Or will it reveal just how hollow that vision has become? I'm curious to see how I feel about this one, because I ended up reading My Year of Rest and Relaxation, and I didn't vibe with it as much as I thought I would, but I'm hoping that this is one that I do vibe with and that I do really enjoy. The next book is another book about life being mundane and jobs and all of that really fun stuff, you know. No, but really, I am really getting into this genre, but I feel a lot of it is about like white 20-something women, and I wanted to try and find something that was similar but not just about like white women, and I ended up coming across There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job by Kikuko Sumura, and this one is translated from Japanese, and it's the same kind of deal. So it's about like the daily grind that a lot of people go through, and apparently it's quite absurd and a little bit weird, and I've heard that it explores like identity and everything, and I'm just, yeah, apparently it's meant to be very weird, very unusual. It just looks so cool, and I'm really excited for it. The next lot of books I will also go through pretty quickly because I read these for my book talk romance video. And so the first one is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. If you know, you know. Wasn't a huge fan of this one. If you want to find out why, I will leave it up there. And yeah, thankfully it was like $9, so it's not a big loss. And then I have Ice Planet Barbarians, and I am planning on getting the second book. And then I have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. And then finally from that video, I have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, which I have mixed feelings about, but overall I really enjoyed. So I did also pick up the second book recently as well. The next few books are all collections of poetry that I have bought over the past couple of months, because I've read some poetry in the past and I did enjoy most of it, and I'm kind of experimenting and seeing what else is out there and what I enjoy. So first up, I have Time as a Mother by Ocean Vuong. I literally finished this yesterday and I loved it. I didn't love it as much as I was expecting. However, I think that's just because I thankfully can't relate to the poems, which I am actually quite grateful for because they're very sad. But I did really enjoy it, and Ocean Vuong's writing is just like another level. This collection was written in the aftermath of his mother's death and the lead up to it as well, and how he copes with life after that. Next up I have And Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. I was really excited to get my hands on some of Maya Angelou's work because she is an activist. A lot of her poverty explores things like racism and poverty, and again, like her activist work, becoming a playwright, and working with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and it sounds amazing and I'm really excited for it. This is my first time delving into her work, and so I got this one, and if I like it, maybe I'll explore some of her other stuff. Next, I got The Road Between by Courtney Pepinell. Courtney Pepinell is more well known for her Pillow Thoughts series, which I haven't picked up yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to anytime soon, but I might, depending on how I feel about this. But I found this one for like $6, I think, on clearance at my local bookstore, and so I had to pick it up. And it says, poetry for the soul that walks the fine line between losing yourself in the world and finding yourself again, often in the smallest moments. That just really appealed to me, like just that one kind of description. So I'm really curious to see how I vibe and feel about her work. Next up I have Ariel by Sylvia Plath, and this is from 1965. This cover, I am like obsessed with it. I love it so much. I think it's so beautiful, and it's got like these really gorgeous end papers as well. This is a collection of Sylvia Plath's best known poems. Sylvia Plath is obviously really well known, and she's just meant to be fantastic. So yes, I picked this one up again for pretty cheap actually, but it's so pretty. I love it. I had to pick it up. Next up I have Devotions by Mary Oliver. These are a bunch of selected poems from each of her collections. I'm just very intrigued because apparently Mary Oliver writes about nature and being in touch with the physical world and the bonds between living things, and I'm just really intrigued to see how I feel about it. And I think this is like a good way to get like a taste of her work. Next up I have All's Well by Mona Awad. This one I of course had on order because I'm obsessed with this cover, and also Bunny was my #1 book of 2021. I was obsessed with it, in love with it. Maybe one of my favorite books of all time ever. I loved it. This one follows Miranda, who used to be a working actress, but she ended up losing her job due to her chronic back pain. Then she ended up becoming the director at a college theatre, and she's on the verge of losing her job again. She ends up directing All's Well That Ends Well by Shakespeare and tries to use that as a way to keep her job, but all of her students really want to be in Macbeth instead. I've heard this one is also a little bit weird. I'm not sure if it's gonna be as weird as Bunny is. I'm trying not to compare the two too much because I feel like if I have too high expectations for this one, it might ruin it for me, but I can't help it because I love Mona Awad's writing so freaking much, and I'm just really excited to see how like women's pain and chronic pain is explored as well and talked about. Then I have Galatea by Madeline Miller. This one is a tiny little book, so that's like a normal size paperback. This is the size of Galatea. So this one is a short story from the author of Song of Achilles and Circe. I really liked the afterword of this as well, and the story of how she wanted to retell the story of Galatea, and I do have a criticism. I do just wish this was a full-size book, because I think there could be so much like that stems from this tiny little novel. Next I have Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I also ended up finding this one in one of my recent vlogs, which I will again leave up here. But this one I picked up for like $3 or something from a secondhand store, and I picked this one up because I really enjoyed Clara and the Sun, and this one is supposed to be better than Clara and the Sun, and I really liked Clara, so I'm hoping I really love this one, and I'm really excited to like read a second novel from him, because it was very different to what I normally read, so I'm really excited about this. Next I have Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. This is another novel translated from Japanese. I kind of wish I ended up finding the pink version. There's like 3 or 4 different versions of this book alone. I found the yellow one, which I'm not gonna lie is probably my least favorite. I think I'm gonna try and convince my friend to buy the pink version, and then I'll like be like, hey, do you want to swap? But yes, I am really excited for this one. It is about a woman who works in a convenience store. It just goes about her life. She doesn't really want to do much more than work in a convenience store. She's totally fine with it. This apparently explores capitalism and the pressure that people put on you to have a certain job and live a certain way, and I'm just really excited for this. I think I'm gonna really enjoy it. Also, while I do wish it was pink, I do still love the cover, like just with the little sushi like soy fish there. But yeah, I'm really hyped for this one. Next I have Still Alive by Safda Ahmed. This is a Australian graphic novel that has just come out really recently. Again, this was in the same vlog that I got Devotions by Mary Oliver in, and Never Let Me Go. This tells the story in graphic novel form of the refugees and asylum seekers who are stuck in Australia's detention centre system. And for those of you who don't know, Australia's treatment of refugees is so fucked up, and it has been for a very long time. Like before the term like kids in cages was even a thing with the Trump administration, Australia has been doing it for a really long time, and like both situations are fucked up anyway. It's so gross, and it's like, it's just something that really infuriates me, and I'm just really excited that this has been told. This apparently blends like journalism and biography into a graphic novel format. I'm really excited that this is being shortlisted for the Children's Book Award as well, because I mean, look, I know this is getting a lot of hype at the moment, but if this could get more hype and more people talk about it and actually see the humanity in refugees in Australia, that would be great, because there are stories of refugees and asylum seekers who have been stuck in detention centres or hotels or on Manus Island for years, like 9 years in some cases, 10 years, and it's devastating, and I'm really excited about this. I'm going to read this as soon as possible. Next up I have Detransition Baby by Tori Peters, and this is like another book that I've been seeing a little bit of hype for, like not too much, but I'm really intrigued by it. I'll read the synopsis for this one. It says, Reese nearly had it all: a loving relationship with Amy, an apartment in New York, a job she didn't hate. She scraped together a life previous generations of trans women could only dream of. The only thing missing was a child. Then everything fell apart, and 3 years on, Reese is still in self-destruct mode, avoiding her loneliness by sleeping with married men. When her ex calls to ask if she wants to be a mother, Reese finds herself intrigued. After being attacked in the street, Amy detransitioned to become Ames, changed jobs, and thinking he was infertile, started an affair with his boss Katrina. Now Katrina's pregnant. Could the 3 of them form an unconventional family and raise the baby together? I'm really excited for this one, and apparently it's really good. And also, I know I said that I hadn't seen it talked about much before, but apparently it was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2021. I didn't know that. I guess maybe that's why I had seen some hype around it. I don't know. Anyway, I picked this one up and I'm excited for it. And finally, the last book that I am hauling today is the Waterstones edition of the Atlas 6. So I had this one on pre-order and I have already read the self-published version of this book and I loved it. I'm really excited to read this version of it because they've changed up and updated the drawings of all of the characters. They've added like paragraphs and like new descriptions, and I'm just really intrigued to see the differences. I will say I'm a little bit disappointed by the Waterstones edition because like, see how it's like yellow on like the edges? Like it looks fine in photos, but like in real life, like it's a really vivid yellow. And on the website, it was gold. I just wish it wasn't so bright. And also I feel a little bit ripped off because I did really want it for the gold and black sprayed edges and it wasn't gold and black sprayed edges. Regardless, I'm excited to have a finished copy of the new edition of the Atlas 6. Alright, so that is finally it for this video. I don't even know how long that took, but I knew I had a lot of books to go through. Let me know down below if you've read any of these or whether I should prioritize any of these that I haven't already read yet, or what you're excited about, what I should be excited about. I am ready to hear it and I'm ready to read and get through more of these books, and I'm just bursting with love and excitement for reading and books and everything, and I'm just like, I'm having so much fun exploring reading again. And it's just like, I know it's been like a year that I've been doing this for, like since I got back into reading, but like it's just such a fun time. I love it. Thank you so much if you made it this far in this video. I know it's a long one. Leave a cup of coffee emoji or like a tea emoji down below if you made it this far. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic day or night, and I'll see you all next time.